afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to be here. One single act of bravery, a highway rescue in 1991, paved the way for a 5-year-old girl who was trapped in the wreckage that included casualties and fatalities. A foreign soldier on the way to a mission saw this wreckage and he left what he was doing to support. I had always wondered why. I think 3 things were evident. 1, he didn't wait for orders from above to take the lead and mobilize unhurt passengers and passers-by to support the rescue mission. He was also right on time when everyone felt all was lost. Lastly, he used his knowledge, what he knew, and that helped save families. I perceived him to be an angel, and that experience became the kaleidoscope that I chose to view the many sins in life. I decided that humans were capable of doing good. Humans can show kindness. Humans can create solutions out of nowhere. Humans can be a beacon of hope unto others. I need not go further without telling you that that 5-year-old girl was me, Ariana Oluwole. I was recruited by that soldier into believing in the power of holistic education, believing in the power that it has to change communities and to support nation building. I went on with that belief, searching for purpose, until I realized later on in life that indeed, holistic education is a philosophy that's based on the fact that every human should discover their purpose and meaning in life. And once they find that purpose and meaning, they can now share that through their communities, the people that they love, the natural world, not forgetting, very important, the spiritual values that we are all born with, values such as compassion and peace. So as a little girl, I was constantly looking for that meaning, asking questions, being very curious, and in some ways, bet. For a long time, I thought that meaning meant I should give my lunch to children in school that couldn't afford to buy lunch or had food, or just babysit for nearly everyone in the neighborhood. As I grew older, these questions continued on and on like a spinning wheel. What can we do as a society to make our lives better? How can we bring change onto others? How can we lead with influence? These questions I started answering a few years ago in 2012 when I left my white-collar job with a good remuneration and brilliant opportunities because I saw a need. It was a gap in our society's way of nurturing and raising children in the early years. I had seen how that soldier used his knowledge to save my life and others. I had also seen how my maternal grandmother, who had very limited education, but she found a way to teach me values around sharing and compassion. She was the mommy queen for every problem in her community. She didn't even care if she had to sell her goats so that a pregnant woman would receive health care. On the other side of my family, I had seen my grandmother and my mother, both teachers, teach tirelessly, year in and year out. But something was common. They valued not just intellectual education, but spiritual and physical and emotional forms of education. I saw how their students blossomed into leaders who dared to be different. And so I thought I had to make this influence work for me by investing in education. What better way to start it than being the guinea pig? So I started with my son. That tiny leap of purpose has birthed many community and educational projects in my home country, Sierra Leone. Most notably, Nanya Educational Group. Nanya has an early learning center and a consultancy. Our focus is not just on raising leaders who are curious to learn ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. We're very concerned about good manners, social awareness, emotional intelligence, creative freedom, raising leaders who wanted to continue on learning. That dream turned into a reality, attracted our city's mayor, and together we created for the Transform Freetown project free early learning centers for the children of market women and traders. These children who otherwise would have missed out on that very critical stage in education are now given the opportunities to learn, not just in any way, but holistically. The other day, a young girl asked her father, "Papa, why are you always absent? What's wrong with you?" At another time, a young boy calmly told the grandfather when he scolded him about playing with dolls, that, "Grandpa, allow me to enjoy myself. This is how I get to learn how to take care of babies and help around the house." You see, holistic education is about creating mindset shifts and causing a wave of influence. You do not need to be in one of our centers to gain a holistic education. You can start now by asking, what can I do today to solve my society's everyday problems? Who can I reach out to that has the necessary tools, the skills, and the know-how to support me? We can all embrace learning, especially the 4 pillars of learning. Learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to be. Let's run through them quickly. Let's take learning to know. Socrates once said that wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. Imagine a child having a slate for the very first time. They are unconcerned about making mistakes or condemnation because they know it can all be erased. We can be like these children by learning, relearning, and unlearning our different methods of living. We can also look into another example. You see, I have a love-hate relationship with clapping. Sometimes I find it very ridiculous when we're being asked to clap, clap, clap. And so I was shocked when I discovered that clapping is actually a very important tool. Did you know that clapping helps with concentration? It's an energy booster. It helps improve your handwriting. And perhaps in the time of COVID, you must take note that clapping helps multiply your white blood cells. So each time you clap, you are boosting your immunity. There you go. Learning to know. Learning to live together. The world will be such a better place if we all learn how to live together, bearing each other's burden, forgiving each other when we make mistakes. I remember very early on in my journey, we had made a mistake of packing the wrong items in a client's bag, and she was livid. She questioned how immature I was, how ill-prepared I was to start a business. I needed to get it right. And so I rushed to her house with the missing items, an apology, and a smile. I was lucky. That went well for me. But maybe that's how we get to learn to live with each other. How about learning to do? What are you learning today? That could be a great approach. Who is doing the right things with what they have? If you have hands, then you must use them. I am very fascinated with certain people in our society. The Hafsatu Seris, the Aishatu Diallos, who are great creatives, and they're making people like us indulge in creativity. We can all be like them. How about Hassan Koroma, a social worker, very young, who has dedicated his life to serving the homeless in the streets of Freetown. Every Sunday, rain or shine, he gives out food to homeless people. We, as entrepreneurs, how do you learn to do? You learn to do by maximizing your ideas. Do you have blueprints of what you do? Manuals of what you do that will outlive you, just so that someone gets to benefit in the future? Or are you just concerned about another person stealing your idea? Today is the day that we have to embrace learning to do, because it is like a magnet. It attracts others. Let's do a simple exercise that's learning to do. If I started laughing here, I can guarantee you that in a few minutes, everybody around me might want to laugh. That is how we do practice positive actions that other people would quickly copy. Lastly, learning to be. Learning to be is about being the very best versions of ourselves. and inspiring other people to do the same. When you leave here today, who do you need to meet? Who do you need to follow that would inspire the greatness that's within you? I was inspired by that soldier. I never got to know his name. I can't even remember his features, but he contributed to the leading lady that I am today. I urge you and you to be that light for some 5-year-old. You can support them in becoming the very best at whatsoever they choose to be. Is it to create a makeshift toy that they could sell at very low cost to deprived communities? Or maybe it's a girl that you can cheer on to becoming a great engineer that would build skyscrapers and bridges in Sierra Leone. How about yourself? How about teaching members of your community how they can escape from harm and danger during disasters? I am desperately advocating for a world where we all embrace holistic education. I believe it has the power to transform lives. It has the capacity to build leaders, change makers, and innovators that will create the future that we want to see. I invite you to join me in this journey. Thank you.